Okay, so now that we've had time to kind of chat from the last time and we kind of went over, the situation at hand, and I had time to kind of sit down and make a treatment plan based on, what we spoke about and kind of like what your needs are going forward and kind of what we want to accomplish. I think the first thing that we can start with this week would be to talk about stress management, how to manage those types of things moving forward, and like kind of what techniques are going to help you best, for the future. So I know with taking care of your parents, not having your older siblings around, starting college, being the first one in your family to go to college, having a part-time job, driving around your little sister, helping with bills, it can be, very overwhelming. And I know that we had that conversation and you kind of feel like that burden is all put on you. So kind of tell me a little bit about, what stress management techniques that you use now, if you use any at all, and kind of what helps, bring down those stress levels and kind of just help ground you a little bit.
So when I get overwhelmed and just feel really stressed about all these tasks that I have to do in a certain amount of time, the things that have to get done, something that I like to do, I just like to kind of make a list either physically or just in my head of all the things that I need to get done and maybe like how much time it would take to get them done and prioritize really of what I need to do first. And then after checking those off on my list, it kind of gives a sense of accomplishment and kind of really helps with the stress relieving.
Okay. And do you feel like that technique helps every once in a while? Do you feel like it helps every time, depending on the situation? Does it kind of do you ever feel overwhelmed, by making a list, saying that, oh, like you have so many things to accomplish in like one day or at one time, so it kind of feels overwhelming? What do you ever feel like that? Or and if you do, like what other things that can you do when you do feel overwhelmed in that kind of situation?
Now that you say that, that pretty much it does definitely doesn't help every time because like you said, after really making a list of all the things I need to get done, when I realize all the things and read them off and realize there's so much to do, it does become overwhelming. And after that, I just try my best to get them done, but I don't really know how to get rid of that overwhelmingness.
Okay. Have you, and I know you said your older siblings and stuff weren't around, have you ever, you know, been open to speaking, to your parents about it? Have you ever been open about that? Kind of just letting them know that you're kind of feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I know that you said you were referred to a school counselor. Have you ever seen anybody before this?
Reason that I wouldn't, I mean, I've thought about talking to my parents, but I didn't want to be a burden onto them. And they have so many things to worry about, especially my dad's illness. And I don't want to be a burden onto them and then throw all my tasks that I have to do. Um, I guess I really haven't thought about really talking out to anybody about this, really. Just keep it to myself.
Okay, okay. All right. So one thing that I'm going to go over today that seems to kind of help people in the past that I've noticed, that I think might be helpful to you. Have you ever heard of like any techniques regarding like mindfulness and or like mindfulness intervention techniques or anything like that?
No, I've never heard of that before.
So it kind of sounds a little bit, different, but mindfulness intervention techniques can be anywhere from like meditation, yoga, different like breathing exercises, anything like that. Have you ever done anything like that before? Have you ever been interested in anything like that before?
I guess personally, I've never taken the time to do those things. I've heard of them, but I've never actually tried them.
Okay. So one technique that we're going to go over today is kind of like a different type of like breathing technique, but it's also going to help us kind of like diffuse your thoughts. So sometimes when we get stressed, and overwhelmed, there's just so many things going on in our brains. We're thinking this, 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 I have to get all this done. This is going on, this is going on. So this technique is going to kind of help to kind of quiet those thoughts and kind of like bring us back into the present and kind of just focus on ourselves a little bit. So it's called Leaves on a Stream. So the exercise that I'm going to walk you through is kind of just like I explained, it's the skill of diffusing your thoughts by stepping back from them, kind of observing those thoughts, kind of like bringing attention to them, focusing on them, saying like, yes, acknowledging them that, yes, I do have these thoughts, but kind of just in the moment, kind of just forgetting about them. So if you're willing, we can go over kind of that practice right now, and we can kind of practice together so that, when the time comes, you're able to do these things on your own. Does that sound like something that you want to participate in?
Yeah, definitely. Let's try it.
All right. So the first thing you want to do is kind of get comfortable sitting in a comfortable position. And if you want, if you feel comfortable, you can either close your eyes or, you can just stare down or find a comfortable spot that you just kind of want to look at in the room. But if you're comfortable, you can more than close your eyes and then kind of just listen to me as I walk you through it. So we're going to take a brief pause and kind of just take a couple of deep breaths and just really kind of just focus on the moment and just focus on, my instruction. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're sitting and you're going to want to visualize yourself sitting beside a gently flowing stream. And then on that stream of water, you're going to see leaves floating along the surface. So then for the next few minutes, take each thought that enters your mind and place it on the leaf. So you're going to take all of those thoughts, kind of like each task, each task that you have on the list. All those things that you feel like are overwhelming, place them on a leaf and just let them float down the river. So during this time, if at all, your thoughts momentarily stop. And if you feel like you can't think of anything to write down or place on the leaf, kind of just focus on the water. Allow the stream to just flow at a natural pace. Don't imagine it trying to speed up or slow down. Just keep it at the same pace it's always been. So sometimes when we sit here and we try to, lose our minds and kind of put ourselves in a blank space, sometimes random thoughts about kind of like the activity saying like, oh, this is dumb. Oh, I'm sitting here and I'm so bored. Maybe you're thinking you're not doing this right. Place those on the leaf and let those float by and just let them pass. If you feel like the leaves get stuck, kind of let them hang around, and when they're ready to float by, they will. Meaning that if you kind of get stuck on particular thoughts or you're having too many of one thought, kind of just let them float by. Sometimes it can be, a little bit difficult or painful to, acknowledge those difficult thoughts to ourselves and kind of focus on the painful things. But it's acknowledging those painful things and then acknowledging that you're letting them go. That's going to help us kind of move on from those. So as this activity goes by, from time to time, your thoughts are going to kind of sway from the activity at hand. Sometimes, we can't help it. Sometimes our brains just kind of do it on their own, but it's acknowledging that and then bringing yourself back into the activity that's going to help. So as soon as you're ready, take a couple of deep breaths and then you can go ahead and open your eyes. So kind of what are your thoughts on that activity? Do you feel like it's something that was helpful? Do you feel like it's something that you would not want to do again? What are your thoughts?
Um, I think it actually was very calming. I think that just imagine myself with the stream and making sure that it's not flowing too fast and just focusing on the leaves really just calms my brain and um, kind of closes me in a space that I'm not so overwhelmed with everything on top of my shoulders.
Perfect. So that was a great first start. I think that, we kind of got to a good place. And I think next week we can pick up on some new techniques when we speak again, okay?
Okay, perfect.